Liana. I use she, her pronouns. I am the headmistress of the Society for Internet Blaseball Research.
Thank you so much for coming, Ileana. Welcome to Blaseball News Network stream. It's your first time on. Thank you so much for coming. And Jack, hey, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm Jack Hall. I make videos for Blaseball. I made the 8-season recap video, and we're coming out with some more. And I use he, him pronoun.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on, Jack. And then finally, Priya, how's it going?
Hi, I'm Priya. I use she, hers. I am the aforementioned roommate and your resident expert on all things that are not knowing things about Blaseball.
Wonderful. We really appreciate you being here to keep us honest. So listeners, first off, we're going to go through I know we're all like excited about election stuff, but we're going to go a little bit in order of what happened during the season. Then we're going to talk about what happened during the postseason, and then we'll probably get to elections and anything else that we want to talk about. So thank you all for tuning in. Let's dive into it. Let's start off with Benson. Can you talk to us a bit about what happened during this season of Blaseball?
Oh, just a little bit. How do I explain this? Let's see. Well, there were only two types of weather this season, Sun 2 and Black Hole. They both centered around getting 10 runs. If you got 10 runs under Sun 2 weather, the Sun would take away your 10 runs and then gift you a win, which we learned is, in fact, a physical object. And in Black Hole weather, if you got 10 runs, it would take those 10 runs away from you and also take a win away from your opponent.
Wow.
Kind of incredible, honestly.
Hey, Priya. Hang on. Sorry, Benson. Hey, Priya, did we just say anything that made zero sense?
Well, I have been hanging around you for long enough, so that did mostly make sense.
Okay, good.
Perfection.
Yeah, go ahead.
So these types of weather pretty much just colored the way the entire season worked out, from who won and lost each game technically, and how the standings turned out at the end of the season.
I want to ask Ileana, how was this for the Society for Internet Blaseball Research?
It was fine. Everything is fine.
Really?
No. We had some issues with this season. The one truth we thought we could hold of the standings being meaningful was taken from us. So turns out everything is meaningless except loss, because loss itself was the only correct thing on the standings.
Really?
I think that because the weather only affected how many wins you had. So, fun fact: if you want to know exactly how many games were actually won by a team, you just take 99 minus the number of losses. I think the biggest thing this season was really looking at, there's a lot of interesting mechanics in Blaseball, and every week is different, and every week we see something new. I think the most telling thing about this season was not actually the weather, but was the way in which the Hellmouth Sunbeams became so incredibly dominant throughout the entire season. And I think that if you remove the effect of the weather, we're looking at a team that would look more like the 80-win Baltimore Crabs than how they looked this season.
Then how the Sunbeams looked this season, or how the Crabs
than how the Sunbeams actually looked. Yeah. Yeah, because like the Sunbeams went 68-39, but how many of those losses, or how many of those wins were taken away by just hitting things out of the park constantly?
Yeah.
Just the hitting power from the entirety of the Wild Low has been enormously overpowered this season.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting this season how we've been trying to build up our teams to be able to score the most runs possible. And now suddenly we've been thrown this new mechanic where instead of scoring the most runs possible, you kind of want to score exactly the right number of runs. And it just completely
Mhm.
threw everything that has happened so far into utter disarray.
Yeah,
For
the disarray from this particular season is just nuts.
Yeah.
That's all there really is to say about it.
Yeah. Something else that happened this season was there were a lot of lawsuits going on in the Blaseball community. Does anyone want to speak to those that happened?
Oh, geez, I can give it a shot.
Go for it.
Well, there was one major lawsuit that's currently still in litigation. The famous once Wild Wings legal team is now taking on a case for the New York Millennials. They are suing the league, the boss, and I believe even Parker, for the fact that at the end of season 10, much to Cyber's chagrin, Eat the Rich just simply did not happen. So the wealth of the 1% was not redistributed to 99% of baseball fandom. And of course, the millennials, they need the money.
Of course it was the millennials.
and it's enshrined in the Forbidden Book that, of course, it will happen at the end of every season. So what are they supposed to do? They thought they had no other use, but no other way to handle the problem but to take the league to court. And so now, sometime during the Grand Siesta, apparently we're going to have a full actual trial.
Yep.
In Hellmouth Court, which has a judge, jury, and executioner. So things could get a bit violent.
Things could get a little bit rough in that one. Yeah. All right. Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. When we come back, we will be talking about what happened during this Blaseball postseason. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and we will be right back.
Blaseball News Network, the place for the best Blaseball news, brought to you by the best Windows XP technologies at Blaseball News on Twitter. In conjunction with our writing team, here of their own free will on BlaseballNewsNetwork.com. The high energy reporting Tiefling, Forsythia Helltiger, our master of Stalats, Firewall Andrews, Sportscasting Supreme, and yours truly, the Sportscaster, and the intern-in-chief himself, Benson Nutty Newton. That's BlaseballNewsNetwork.com, BlaseballNewsNetwork.com, or at Blaseball News on Twitter. You cannot avoid it. You cannot resist. Blaseball News Network.
Hey there, listeners. We are back with your Blaseball News Network Season 11 recap. I am here with Benson Nutty Newton of the Blaseball News Network. Ileana, did you say headmistress of the Society for Internet Baseball Research? Is that right?
I sure did.
Yes, very good. And Jack, a real journalist who some of you may know as the creator of some of these other videos on the Blaseball News Network YouTube channel, which if you're watching this not on Twitch is probably where you're watching it. Jack, thank you so much for joining us. And we've also got my roommate, Priya, who is here to keep us honest about what we're saying that sounds like we've joined a cult. So thank you, everyone in the chat, for joining us. Please send us any questions about what happened this season. If there was something that you missed or something that you've been confused about, just let us know, and we will strive to answer them on the stream. To be fair, Blaseball is just a cult. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Speaking of cults, let's talk about the postseason, where I think we saw a new cult forming, which would be the cult of the loop. Jack, do you want to describe what happened with looping in this postseason?
I can give it a shot. I was not present for the majority of the postseason, but
That's
That
all
means
right.
you're perfect for
Give
telling
it,
the story.
give it your best
Yeah, exactly.
try. We'll
Sure.
help you out. We'll help you out if you need it.
Yeah, from what I remember, looping basically made it possible for series to go either incredibly short, like 2 games for a whole series, or incredibly long. If I remember correctly, the finals were a lot longer than they should have been because the sunbeams kept looping, and uh, either the sunbeams kept looping or the tigers were stealing wins from them, uh, and just couldn't get those 3 wins locked down. Um, so it was just kind of causing a lot of chaos in the regular season. It wasn't a big deal because series end at 3 games whenever, but when it actually matters how many wins you have, it just completely messes with how long a postseason will go. Um, and that's why they had to move round 2 of the postseason up to Friday, so we didn't have to stay up till midnight to watch uh, the entire postseason on Saturday.
That's right. Yes, this whole black hole and Sun 2 weather had a huge effect on any Blaseball games that were a series this postseason. I think usually during the regular season, we just look at records to see who makes it. Whoever's got the best win record gets to go on to the postseason. Is that correct? Maybe Cal, Ileana, double check me on this.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is largely correct. Yes.
Yeah. So normally that's what would happen in the regular season. So people were just trying to get as many wins as they could. But then once we go into the postseason, you've got a series that is the best of 3 games. But since Sun 2 or Black Hole can take away one of your wins or give you an extra one, you might get your 3rd win in your first game. And then you have a best of 3 series that
Or your 5th game.
or your 5th
Yeah,
game
or
if you
your
have a
fifth
black
game,
hole.
Or your 6th game. Or your...
Yeah.
Cal, did you have some?
No, it's just painful.
Oh my gosh.
It
It was so
couldn't-
painful.
I couldn't stay up. I had to fall asleep. I missed the final. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was hanging out watching the Boston Flowers Sports Hub Joey T. Badger stream, and they were really rooting for the series to end by the end, let's just say, rather than rooting for either particular team to win. It was quite a time.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah. That was, I think, the big thing that happened this postseason. Was there anything else that we saw going on?
I think the main thing, the main attraction of this entire postseason was pretty much just the pandemonium that Sun 2 and Black Hole could cause, whether it be, the Sunbeams and Houston Spy series ending with the Sunbeams winning 3 wins to -1, or the Tiger Beams, Hellmouth Sunbeams versus Hades Tigers series going on for several days, along with in the finals, the Sunbeams outscored the Garages by, I believe, over 20 runs and won 2 of those games. So it was all around, thanks to the weather, an incredibly odd season and postseason.
Yeah. That was very, very strange. And
I think
yeah, go on.
The most interesting thing was the deep, unending worry that the internet series would never end.
Yes.
Games 3 and 4 and 5 were all played under a black hole, and in games 3 and 4, the Sunbeams looped, taking a win from the Garages, and then proceeded to lose themselves. And at the end of all of those games, the standing was still 2 wins to 1, with no end in sight. The level of pain I felt watching the end of Game 5, waiting for either thing to happen. right? Either we go to game 6 or we're done, and we can move on. I think this was the most tense postseason we've had.
I would agree with that. That was such a postseason. There was a lot of great energy that happened right after the postseason as well, actually. I don't know if people caught it, but there was a Garages concert in the Discord right after the postseason happened. Did anybody else catch that?
I heard about it. It seemed pretty rad. Seemed like a pretty rad to... I mean, I was passed out when it actually happened, but
yeah,
it's great to have a channel to actually listen to music with all your fellow in the stands with. It's a great new server.
yeah. It's fantastic to have it there. Is it still ongoing? Can you still hop into there?
Yeah.
It is now permanent.
I see like
Wow.
20 people in there right now.
Wow,
Maybe
that's
more.
awesome.
Yeah.
There were about, I want to say there were around 500 or so. It's hard to get an accurate count.
Yeah.
With Discord and servers that are that big, but 500 plus people all listening to the same stream and just enjoying and talking about music from the garages.
Yeah.
In the watch party channel. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, there was one song that got played. I think it was Pathetic something or other. Someone prompt me. It was Pathetic Spineless.
I think.
Pathetic Spineless
Yep.
played, and everyone started. It's one of those like ballad type songs, so everybody started putting candles into the chat, and there was this huge string of candles just going all the way down. It was so beautiful. Yeah, so that was quite the postseason. I don't know. There wasn't even a god fight, and yet somehow it managed to be as tense and emotional as the past couple seasons, at least. All right, viewers, thank you so much for sticking with us. We're gonna cut to a break right now, but when we come back, we're gonna talk about what to expect coming up over the siesta, quite possibly, or anything else that we want to talk about, and see if there's any other questions that Priya has for us. So thank you for staying tuned. You're watching the Blaseball News Network Season 11 recap stream. Do not go away. Hi, I'm Kimberly Dauber of Blaseball in the Sky with a microphone. If you love Blaseball and you love podcasts, you should be listening to my podcast, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take Me Out to the Ball Game is your friendly neighborhood Blaseball podcast. I started it because there are always so many amazing things happening in the Blaseball community, and I want to talk to all the people doing them. On the show, you can learn about Blaseball Cares, participate in a memorial for Kiki Familia, hear about the origins of the Snacrifice, and more. If that sounds like fun, check out our website by going to blaseballpodcast.com or subscribe to Take Me Out to the Ball Game on your favorite podcatcher. Once again, that's blaseballpodcast.com and Take Me Out to the Ball Game on your favorite podcatcher. Hey there, viewers. We are back. You are watching the Blaseball News Network Season 11 recap stream. I am here with a bunch of people. Let's go in reverse order just to shake it up. We've got Priya, my roommate, who does not know much about Blaseball, but does learn things via osmosis by virtue of living with me. We've got Jack, a real journalist who makes some videos for the Blaseball News Network. You might have seen a little one called A Complete History of Blaseball up through Season 8. If you haven't, go check it out. We've also got Ileana, the headmistress of the Society for Internet Blaseball Research, who we are delighted to have on the program. And we've got the one, the only Benson Nutty Newton, the intern-in-chief of the Blaseball News Network. And then finally, there's me. I'm Kimberly Dauber. I use she, her pronouns, and I got a podcast. It's called Take Me Out to the Ball Game. You just watched an ad for it if you decided to pay attention to the ad. Thank you so much for staying tuned in, everyone. We're about to just talk about whatever's going on in the Blaseball world. Maybe coming up over the siesta, maybe stuff that you suggest in the chat. Maybe something that Priya is confused about. One thing that I saw in the chat that I want to address actually is, can we confirm what's going on with these bloodbath things? Who can explain this? Eliana?
Well, evidently, I am watching my own Twitter right now and seeing other people post on it. But evidently, the bloodbath images are completely gone.
Oh,
the
wow.
permanent modifiers from all of the teams.
Yep.
You know, the rule, what is it, 6I in the book has been revealed to start with bloodbath and is crossed out. The rest of it is redacted.
Oh.
So, you know, for context for people were relatively new to the game, when all of when the league was reshuffled into the current sub leagues and divisions, the wild and the mild, this was done with this was done by ordering the teams based on how good they did in the previous season. So you had oh my god, I don't even remember who's in what leagues now. You had the crabs and the firefighters and the tigers all in the wild high. You had the tacos and the spies and the flowers and the beams in the wild low, and sort of everyone in the middle in the mild league. And each of these divisions got a different, you know, attribute of the bloodbath, saying that when the bloodbath happens at the end of each season, this team will donate stars to someone higher above it. And this turned out to be, well, I think for a lot of people who participate in Blaseball, that turned out to be a pretty disappointing result of that season's election. It was sort of construed as extremely unfair, especially in the wild low. And it was later revealed that again, for the second time in Blaseball history, contractors hired by the ILB had caused some kind of issue with the plumbing, I think.
Huh.
And the bloodbath was indefinitely postponed. It seems like it is now definitely postponed forever. But that's the quick history of that. I think that's just one of the few things that I think is sort of telling about, you know, what's happened in this election. I think we're putting a lot of the past properly behind us. The discipline era is now over. The credits have rolled. If you haven't seen the election page, and I think the league and the fans and Cyber and everyone are all preparing for what's to come after the Grand Siesta.
Yeah. Speaking of the election page, what do we think of these election results, you guys? Oh my gosh, everybody.
There's something pretty interesting about the Sun here. At least I see on my screen, is that the Wild Wings had 0% of the votes for the Sun, and they were the highest bidders. Which doesn't make sense, because I'm pretty sure the Sunbeams probably put some votes in there. Someone put a vote in there. So
maybe they looped again.
Wim did it.
Well, maybe. I mean, you do have to remember we had total fairness, which apparently only affected this season.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, right. So
That's
they
right.
The highest remaining bidder, perhaps.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that these blessings are in order of the standings, in order of how many wins you had that season.
Oh,
or this last regular season. So, right, yeah. I mean, if we look at the league, the Wild Wings are second to last in the league. So they get second to last pick, and more people on the Wings voted for the Sun than Strength out of the remaining two cards.
Huh. Catastrophe down in the chat says, since each team only got one, they removed votes from other teams. Thank you, Kat, for that bit of information. Yeah, so that's interesting for what this means for fairness, because it you know, my impression was that people would get, or was that teams were going to get blessings distributed to them, one blessing per team, but that didn't say anything about doing better in the standings, meaning that you were more likely to get your favorite particular blessing. We actually we heard a little bit from the coin this
I'm
season.
not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if that's the order these cards were picked in, but it is certainly the order they are
It is certainly
displayed
the order
in.
they're displayed in.
And in previous seasons, blessings happen in the order that they're presented. So like all the way back in season 1 or 2, Jessica Telephone gets her batting stats maxed out and then is stolen by the Pies. So there's an order to when these blessings take place, based on the first order that they show up on. That's usually how it is, but now it's looks like they just chose the highest standing.
Yeah.
Not incredibly.
Yeah. All right.
The
well,
people...
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. It seems like the people at the bottom of this don't really have any chance of getting the blessing that they voted the most.
There's definitely some good clarifications of how the blessings go down in the chat currently. So if you're interested in looking at that, I would suggest check out what Floostrid's talking about. I believe you can also find Floostrid on Twitter, where they might tweet about some things like that. In the meantime, for us, however, we are out of time since it is almost 4 o'clock, and that is the end time for our stream. So before we go, let's do a quick rundown of where you can find each of us. Let's start off with Priya. Priya, where can our viewers find you?
They can find me hanging out with Kimberly. So if you find Kimberly, you can probably find me.
Hooray! Thank you. Jack, what about you?
You can find me at Jack Hall Books on Twitter, and you'll see my videos come up on Blaseball, YouTube, over the siesta.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Ileana.
You can find me and the rest of the council at Cyber at SIBR official on Twitter.
All right, thank you,
and also in our Discord.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, go check out the Society for Internet Blaseball Research Discord. You can find them. You can probably find them. And then finally, Benson, how about you?
Hey, you can find my employer, the Blaseball News Network, at Blaseball News on Twitter. You can find a lot of fun stuff that we write at blaseball.news. And also, we have a YouTube channel you can check out, see a lot of cool videos like stream recaps and also incredible videos made by Jack.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. Viewers, thank you for sticking with us. This concludes our Season 11 Blaseball News Network recap stream. If you missed any of it, don't worry, we'll be posting it on YouTube very soon. And if you'd like to keep chatting with us, we'll be hanging out in the Blaseball News Network Discord server after the show. I'm Kimberly Dauber. This has been the Blaseball News Network Season 11 recap stream. And thank you for participating in the cultural event of the recap stream. We are all love Blaseball.